picture of the Earth's globe came across my plate the other day, and all of the bands of energy that we call atmosphere were depicted on this picture. And it occurred to me that we are all a microcosm of the world, and that we create our own atmost sphere. And what that did was it took me back to a time and place when I was working as a therapist with people that were transitioning out of life as we know it. And not one of them talked about how they wish they had allocated more dollars to XYZ fund. What they talked about was their time and their energy and their presence, their most precious commodities. And that those three things were what made up their atmost sphere. When they talked about their time, what they did was they talked about who they spent their time with, how much time they spent with those people, where they spent their time, and the kinds of people they spent their time with. They also talked about, in terms of time, that it gives us the opportunity to discern and to delineate and to prioritize what's important to us, what's significant to us by where we channel that time. And that there were few people at the very, very end of their physical experience that shared such an incredibly rich, intimate experience. And I felt so honored and privileged to be part of it, in that they talked about how time was really something that they were able to speed up or slow down, and that it really didn't exist, that they had the capacity to experience being in two places at the same time, because they had let go, they had surrendered, they were in a place of pure beingness. And I thought that was absolutely fascinating, and it's my life's pursuit to experience that more and more by being in the present moment. The second thing that they talked about was their energy, and what they meant by that was their ideas. No. It was their dreams, their aspirations, their desires, and their hopes. That's what they were talking about. Because when you talk about your dreams and your hopes and your desires and your aspirations, they're kind of vapors. They're kind of only in energetic form. They're intangible. And it's only until we cultivate it does it form into an idea and give it life, and then it's tangible, and everybody can experience that with us, along with us, and enjoy that with us. And what they talked about with regard to their energy was whether they were willing to step outside their comfort zone and reach for their pure potential. And as they cultivated that pure potential to whatever degree that they did, were they cultivating they were cultivating certain possibilities. And then as they honored those possibilities, it turned into probabilities. But they also reflected on their lack of. In other words, if they really succumbed to the pressures of conditioned mindset. In other words, in order to be happy, you have to grow up, get married, and have a few children. Or in order to live a certain kind of quality of life, you have to make a certain amount of money. And they also reflected on whether they were putting their energy behind the energy of people that they love and cared about. In other words, if they were supportive of other people's hopes and dreams and aspirations and desires, or their lack of. There's a lot of conversation around that. And the last thing that they talked about was their presence. And what they meant by that was the thoughts that they thought habitually over their lifetime, and the emotions, the fuel that they put behind those thoughts, and how those two things together formed a belief system. And as they perpetuated that belief system, they looked at life through a perspective or through a lens that created a kind of attitude, and that's how they showed up for their life, for themselves and for other people. So they talked a lot about their presence and what they would have redone. But there was a lot of acceptance also in this last stage of life, as we know it anyway. And I was thinking about, wow, how profound is this? And it left such an indelible mark on me. It's such a richness and a deep, intimate connection, and I've wanted to perpetuate this practice to be in the moment, every moment of my life. And I do the best that I can. And I thought, wow, this was so profound and such a privilege. And I wanted to think, how can I make this a tip for all of you? How can we use this? And it is something that we can use every single day, but it's a matter of reflecting on it daily and putting those action steps in place where we pause, where we breathe, where we think about where we want to put our time and our energy and how we want to show up with our presence. And what I came up with was every single time that you're engaging with somebody, something, even yourself, and you're giving your time and your energy and your presence, what you're saying is you matter, you're significant, you're important. I aim to create a relationship and a connection with you. I want to foster a sense of belonging and feeling part of. I respect you. I value you. I see worth. I see a contributory factor in you, and I'm willing to receive that. And there's an ebb and a flow, and there's an energy exchange in all situations. Just always know that you're doing good enough. You are good enough. You're okay. And I think I'm saying that in part for myself, but just know this is coming from my heart to your heart, and we're melding together. There's a synergy. And wherever we are, whatever we're doing, our hearts are always touching. Namaste.